Bhutan's international trade. Today we will explore Bhutan's current landscape, major trading partner, key imports and exports, and how these patterns related to global trade theories. Joining me today are esteemed panelists. First, Mr. Karmong Chu as trade analyst, and Ms. Perotsumo as economist, and on left hand, Ms. Tinichodin as policy expert, and finally, Kili Tenzin as international trade theory. Thank you all for being here with me. Now, without wasting much time, let us begin our discussion with trade trends and current overviews. To begin with, Mr. Karmong Chu, could you begin by providing us with some general overview of Bhutan's trade situation?
Well, thank you, moderator, for your question. The overview of Bhutan trade situation is as per the Bhutan trade status 2024. The country's total trade stood at approximately of neutrum 170 billion, which the imported value around neutrum 120 billion, and exported of neutrum 50 billion. Therefore, there is a trade deficit of neutrum 70 billion. Thank you.
Interesting, right? Now, Ms. Emma, could you share which countries does Bhutan engage in trade with?
First of all, Kuzu Sampula, and thank you, moderator, for a wonderful opportunity. So, India is the Bhutan's largest trading partner, and as of January 2025, Bhutan has exported worth USD 34.4 million and imported amounting to 113 million from India, which has resulted in a negative trade balance of 78.1 million. And some of the other partners we trade in are Bangladesh, Nepal, and Thailand, Japan, and we also trade with Singapore.
Thank you very much for enlightening us with general overview of our country's current trade and especially highlighting the Bhutan's trading partners. Now, to delve further into trade composition and key points, as one of our panelists, Ms. Perotsumo, rightly pointed out that the trading partner of Bhutan includes countries like India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Thailand, and also Japan and Singapore. Now, Ms. Tinley, can you tell us more about what are some of the imports and exports of our country with those mentioned countries?
Thank you, moderator, for the question. Bhutan's major imports includes electricity, ferrosilicon, cardamom, cement, calcium, and some of the imports are ranging from fuel, vehicles, and machinery to food products and construction materials. And Bhutan mainly traded with India. I will focus more on trade goods and services which is export and import with India. Main exports Bhutan does to India is electricity, which is approximately of 70 to 75%. And as of January 2025, top exports of Bhutan to India includes iron and steel, which is of US dollar 16.9 million, and second one is processed minerals, which is of dollar 5.18 million, and electronic instruments, which is of dollar 2.77 million. And some of main imports of Bhutan from India includes petroleum product, which is of dollar 19.7 million, and electric machinery and equipment, which is of dollar 6.89 million, and other commodities of dollar 6.13 million.
Thank you for sharing information about the statistics of our country's import and export. Now, my question to our panelist, Mr. Kinley, is how do you think have these patterns evolved over the time in our country?
Thank you, moderator, for bringing us here. Now, to directly go on with the questions, that is how these patterns evolve over time. So, to talk about the patterns, Bhutan trade trends from the year 2020 to 2023 shows a significant increase in the hydropower sector. That accounts for 25% of the GDP and 45% of the export revenue from Puna Sancho 1 and Puna Sancho 2. Even our country's agriculture sector is growing due to the global demand for sustainability, while the tourism has contributed to 7% of its GDP, which is after the COVID pandemic. Over time, Bhutan has been seeing a surge in hydropower sector due to the new power plant upcoming and the diversification efforts such as organic certification and the digital services. Thank you.
Fred, thank you for your wonderful insights. And to also continue with applications of trade theories, let me continue from fourth panelist. Let's relate these facts to trade theories and how are classical and modern trade theories applied to Bhutan's unique trade pattern.
Thank you, moderator, for bringing up a good question. So, Bhutan's trade is dynamic because of the case study of trade theories. So, let's start with the David Ricardo's, that is a comparative theory. So, Bhutan exports hydropower and organic agriculture not because they are of best quality, but because of the lower opportunity cost. For instance, Bhutan's mountainous terrain and river makes the hydropower production highly efficient, freeing up resources to import goods like machineries from India, while manufacturing is more cost effective. This mutual benefit is called David Ricardo's theory in action. The second module, it explains about the Heshe Oil module, which explains why Bhutan's export resource-intensive goods. So it endows with the natural resources like water, forest, minerals, but it lacks the capital and technology. So this aligns with import of vehicles and industrial equipment from India. However, Bhutan's geography, being a land of aids friction to this module, as transport costs aren't fully captured in the classical theories.
And also let us hear your opinion on how does Bhutan's reliance on India for 80% of its trade fit into these theories?
Great question. So from the Heshe's oil theory perspective, this makes sense, where the Indians they provide capital and technologies that Bhutan lacks. So however, due to over-reliance to India, it could lead to risk violating in the theory of diversification, which explains that once against the dependency on the single partner, that is India. So for Bhutan, this could mean vulnerability to India's economic fluctuation. Diversifying through platforms like BIMSTEC or adapting digital service, it could mitigate this as suggested by the new trade theories on globalization and connectivity.
Now, let us take our discussion further by discussing some new trade theories and policy implications. Now, Ms. Tinley, as a policy expert, what is your view or opinion on the new trade theories that we could implement in trading?
Thank you for the question, moderator. Applying new trade theories helps us understand some unique aspects of Bhutan's trade beyond basic advantages. Firstly, economies of scale are crucial for our small market. Industries like cement survive by exporting to India, as our local demand isn't enough for make production efficient. And second one is Bhutan has the first mover advantages in regional hydropower. We developed this early and secured long-term deals with India. Our continued focus on hydropower leverages this establishes expertise, a key point in strategic trade policies. And thirdly, product differentiation. It is a challenge for us where we mostly trade different types of goods, raw materials out, manufacture goods in. Our brand Bhutan initiatives in areas like organic agriculture and tourism aims to create unique and high-value products to change this. And finally, we are trying to use strategic clustering like the minerals industries in Pasakha and IT park in Thimphu. The goal is to create an hubs to boost efficiency and knowledge sharing, though building these clusters to a self-sustaining level has seen mixed success.
Wow, interesting, right? Now, Ms. Pema, could you share your thought on the trade policy as well?
Thank you once again. Yes, Bhutan need to adopt a balanced approach to trade policy, what we might call as a selective trade liberalization. This means opening up the economy gradually in the areas where we have a competitive advantage in hydropower and organic agriculture, while protecting our vulnerable sectors like small-scale farming and cottage industries from sudden exposure to international competitions. So, to benefit from the trade, Bhutan must focus on enhancing infrastructure, especially like roads, digital networks, and logistic systems to reduce transport costs and make export more competitive. And Bhutan must also build human capital because it means improving education, vocational training, and technical skills so our workforce can adapt to our global market demands.
Now, we know that Hisha Alin suggests the countries export goods that uses their abundant factors of productions. As Bhutan is abundant in natural resources, especially water and forest products. Now, my question to first panelist, Mr. Karma, is explain why we export energy and raw materials rather than capital intensive goods, and what are some of the absolute advantages plays a role in exporting raw materials and energy rather than exporting capital intensive goods.
To directly answer your question, Bhutan export energy and raw materials rather than capital intensive good because it has abundant natural resources, particularly water for the hydropower and forest product, but limited capital and technology infrastructure. According to History All in Theory, country export goods that use their abundant factor for production, instantly explaining Bhutan trade pattern that leverage its natural resource advantage. And for the absolute advantage, as we all know that Bhutan is rich in these natural resources, Bhutan can produce renewable electricity more effectively than other countries. Therefore, it has absolute advantage. Thank you.
Now, regarding challenges and opportunities associated with the Bhutan's international trade, I would like to hear your opinions and views regarding challenges and opportunities. So, how about beginning with Mr. Kinley?
Thank you for the question. So, Bhutan faces several trade challenges. It includes the over-reliance on India and hydropower, a high logistic cost, and climate change risks to hydropower. So, Bhutan's 80% trade is with India, and hydropower alone it contributes to about 40% of the export revenue. This over-reliance makes the economy vulnerable to the sector-specific shock and geologistic risks. Here, Bhutan's dependence on India also limits its resilience during the global energy price fluctuation or the reduced demand.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Bhutan's landlocked location significantly raise our transportation cost, making it harder to compete globally. However, we see promising opportunities in digital trade, which can bypass some of these physical barriers. Additionally, our pristine environment gives us an edge in ecotourism, attracting a specific high-value market. Finally, focusing on niche agriculture products like organic honey, where we can command premium prices due to their quality and unique origin, offers another avenue for export growth despite the transportation challenges.
Okay.
To add upon, I think diversification is key to making Bhutan's trade more resilient. Right now, our economy is highly dependent on India, not just for export but also for most of our imports. And while India remains a crucial and reliable partner, over-reliance poses risks, especially when geopolitical or economic shocks occur. And to reduce this vulnerability, Bhutan must explore new markets such as countries in Gulf region like UAE, where there is a rising demand for high quality, organic, and similarly Asian countries, which offers significant opportunities for trade and cooperations, especially in areas like ecotourism, herbal products, and artisanal crafts.
Thank you. So, Mr. Kang, do you have anything to add upon their views?
I don't have any point. All the points are covered by the panelists.
Well then, thank you all for your insights. And to summarize, Bhutan's trade is evolving with hydropower exports dominating and India as its main partner. The application of trade theories help us to understand the structure and constraints of Bhutan's trade. However, diversification, investment, and policy innovations are crucial for sustainable trade governance. Now, let's continue to observe Bhutan's journey towards inclusive trade growth. And once again, thank you panelists and thank you to all the audience.